loves the fields and streams that filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
So what's the outdoor guy doing wearing a suit? Well, you think it's for the Christmas show? Yeah, funny you asked, but not really. I just got back a couple hours ago from being sworn in as an attorney in the state of Michigan. There's my temporary certificate, and this is my bar card. Now we have a whole different deal going here. I've been working on this a long time. We have a show where we're going to be talking, coincidentally enough, about DNR regulations. You stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. You're watching The Practical Sportsman. Okay, out of the suit, back into my outdoor identity. Now, this program that I'm presenting, I know we're just on the brink of Christmas here, but I can't hold this story any longer. Hunters around the state are in an uprising. I mean, I'm not kidding. I have never heard hunters so upset from one end of the Upper Peninsula down to southern Michigan as I have this year. They're upset about the unlimited doe permits, the extended firearm season, the number of does and fawns being shot, the fact that the DNR doesn't seem to have a grasp on the deer numbers or how many deer are being shot, and the fact that the DNR is not listening to sportsman input. That is really grinding hunters. Well, I want you to know that I'm right in the middle of this in participating in an informational meeting, which is coming up January 16th. That's Sunday night, 7 o'clock in Ithaca. From your little corner of the world, you might wonder, well, why is it that everybody's so upset, and are they really that upset? Well, for the next few minutes, I want to take some excerpts from the show that I did right after the opening week of firearm deer season to review comments that I heard around the state from the sports shops and deer processors, starting with Bob Lacina, deer processor in Ovid.
Everybody that comes from the UP said it's been really, they're up there for a week and see only 1 or 2 deer. I think there's more deer down here in southern Michigan than there is, because guys are bringing them in 4 and 5 at a time. Got a lot of does this year.
More does than...
Oh, more does, yeah.
And it sounds like the big news is the increase in does.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more does this year than I ever had before.
A lot more does this year than ever before. That's what seems to be happening around the state. That's what hunters are observing, deer processors are observing. But there's even more distressing concern than just the does, the large, full, adult, antlerless deer. We're talking about some problems with the fawns and the smaller ones, and the button bucks. And to show you this problem, let's just take a quick sequence of some of our guide report sources. And this is what they said a few weeks ago about the status of the deer herd in their areas.
I haven't seen a buck while I was hunting. I still haven't. We saw a lot of does, and we didn't see the number of deer that we normally do. And out of our group, and it's a small group, but we normally do fairly well, there's only been 1 antler buck killed. And only 2 seen. And that's private property, and, you know, we've been hunting that same chunk of land for 25 years. And it's just, I don't know, if it's just the luck of the draw, you know, the numbers are there. You know, you're going to have an off year once in a while. Maybe that's it.
On my average morning, I will see on that piece of property probably 8 to 15 deer, and that's every year. I don't ever remember not seeing, you know, that many deer out there. And this year, on opening morning, I saw 0 go by, and we had 6 people hunting around us, and nobody saw any. The only man who saw anything was I chased two to him when I went through one swamp to look at. He said 2 does came out at him, but he didn't shoot them.
As far as big bucks, I haven't heard of anything over 6 point being taken so far. But I can say that the people that hunt in the swamps don't seem to be producing as well as what they have in the past. I got one cabin up here that takes that has anywhere from 18 to 20 people in it, and they got 500 acres down the road, and they usually do real good on the deer, and that's usually where I get my deer report from. And they took one deer home last week, and that was a 5-point. So I don't know.
Things don't seem to be moving very good. We haven't seen a whole lot of deer brought in. Or
What are the hunters saying?
hunters are saying they aren't seeing much. So I really don't know what to tell you there, Fred.
I don't know. That's one of the most common phrases I've heard from a lot of people regarding their assessment of the deer herd. They say, we looked in the swamps, we drove the woodlots, we looked for tracks, we shined at night. I don't know where the deer are. They don't seem to be there. That's the big concern of a lot of people. But before you jump to a conclusion and say, oh yeah, it's just the hunters who were unsuccessful and it's sour grapes, no. That's not the big concern. They're seeing many other hunters shoot many other deer, and these are not like other bucks that they're taking. Now we're talking about the small deer, the fawns, the button bucks. This is a huge concern from one end of the state to the other. Let's travel up to the far northwestern end of the Upper Peninsula, where Dick Blau at Dick's Favorite Sports reviews his concern about the way the permits are being used.
We've got probably the slowest deer season we can remember, as far as a nice deer.
So they're just not.
In fact, when Paul was down at. Are we live on this thing now? Or
Yeah.
Okay. Paul was down at one of the places that cuts up and processes a lot of deer, and there's just lots of does and fawns that are being brought in, and not very many bucks. And we're kind of disturbed about it because that's our breeding stock.
Dick Blau is disturbed because these small deer are our future breeding stock. Now that's from one end of the Upper Peninsula. Let's go all the way down to the southeastern part of the Lower Peninsula, where Roland Hunt evaluates the season in much the same way.
In opening day, there were only 6 bucks brought in here, as compared to 2 years ago, there were 27 bucks brought in. So, and a lot of babies being killed, I'll tell you that. Because the guys are coming back in for the doe permits, and they're bragging about it, which is kind of a little bit irritating.
Roland says this is a bit irritating. Well, that's what he said 1 week after the opener. Now, hunters are going way beyond being a bit irritated. And the big concern, like I've been saying, is the deer processors who see people bringing the deer in. They're not bringing in the full-size deer that we all expect should be taken during hunting season. Let's go back to Bob Lucina and check out what he's observed.
I bet we have did close to 100 deer that are 90 pounds and under.
Whoa.
50 pounds, 60 pounds, 35, 40, 45, 55, a lot of button bucks, a lot of small deer are being shot this year. And I really hate, I really hate to see that, but that's, some of them are the kids' first kill, which is nice, but that's, I just think they're just really wiping out the herd this year.
Wiping out the deer herd is what sportsmen are really concerned about. Now, 100 small deer at Bob Lucina's processing plant, that's hardly wiping out the herd, but it's indicative of what's happening around the state. Now, another reason Bob Lucina is concerned is because he checked on how many doe permits seem to be issued in his area. Oh, he was really distressed about that.
We went into Walmart here just before gun season to get our doe permit. And there was a guy in there bought 99 doe permits, Fred. And what is he going to do with 99 doe permits? And guys are coming in here saying his neighbor, they shot 19 does out of his cornfield. And the guy down the road, he's killed 32 does already. And you might better times that by 3, because that's what you're doing. Next year, there will be no deer. Very, very little.
So how many antlerless deer permits have been sold by the DNR anyway? I mean, that's one good index to see maybe what's going on with how many deer are being shot. Well, Randy Smith from Ithaca filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the Department of Natural Resources. He asked how many antlerless permits were sold by Gratiot County retailers this year to date. At least how many have been sold so far. Now, he got this letter back from the DNR that said, your request to obtain the total number of antlerless deer permits sold by Gratiot County retailers is denied, in bold letters. It says the Freedom of Information Act does not require a public body to create a record where one does not exist. Accordingly, your request is denied. The DNR is trying to tell a sportsman here that they have no clue as to how many antlerless permits have been sold in Gratiot County. Now, give me a break. I mean, they're taking in money on each of those permits. They're paying a fee to each license dealer on that, and they're saying the request is denied. We're not telling you how many antlerless permits have been sold in your area. This is the type of thing that is causing sportsmen to come unglued, a lack of cooperation from the DNR, which is why we're having this meeting. We're not trying to change the DNR regulations. We're trying to change the way the DNR makes its regulations. This is a very important distinction. But let me just show you some of the videotape that I took a week ago today as this meeting was forming, as Whitetails Forever, as they decided to call themselves, was getting organized.
I've had one guy say that we're the people that manage the deer, not the DNR.
Well, we are. You know,
Like I told him, somewhat we are.
that's the sad thing about what's going on right now. We're forming another organization. You got Western Michigan Quality Deer Management. I mean, that's pretty sad when we have to go out as ourselves and do that because the DNR will not listen to us. This is a statewide thing. I think it's pretty sorry that this has to be done. But we're trying to do it. Our concern now is the decline in the deer herd already. And they're allowing you to go out and shoot anything you want. That is deer management. It's not. And it affects all other hunters. It's not just deer hunting. Our objective right now is to develop a statewide organization to inform and educate state representatives and senators of the need to change the Administrative Procedures Act and to obtain their commitment to do so. They do not have to give us any input and report to us. They will not even listen to us. It doesn't do us any good anymore. We have to change legislation. That's why our commitment is to go statewide on this. They have stepped over the line on their antlerless deer permits and their extended antlerless deer season. It has not only angered hunters, it's angered people that are non-hunters, citizens and voters. I have approached some people not knowing if they're a hunter or not with my petition. They've read it. They've asked me, well, what is this? I don't deer hunt. I said, well, basically they're allowing them to kill off our deer herd. The deer herd is down now. They're allowing them to shoot yearling deer. What's a yearling? A deer that's approximately 7 months old. They go, you're kidding me. That's what they're allowing them to do? I said, yeah. That's what's being done. That's our future. That is DNR management, and they need to listen to us. We have to change this right here. That is our goal. Our first meeting, large meeting, will be held right here at Town and Country Recreation in Ithaca. Support from surrounding counties, Gratiot County, to show up to Town and Country and listen to us. We need to get out there and start educating the people right now. Any other questions?
Couple of comments, if I might.
Richard?
I don't know if you folks have ever had the occasion to get in this kind of a situation before, but it's going to be long, it's going to require a lot of work, it's going to require a lot of dedication. You're going to have it here in the gut in order to make it succeed. The state legislature, the representatives and senators are extremely busy people. It's very difficult to get their attention, much less their time to listen to us. This is not going to happen overnight. And if you're not willing to work at it, stay in the trenches. It could very well be a 1 year, 2 year, might even be 3 or more. If we fail to get some action by the state legislature and we go for a referendum, that's a lot of work to go out and get the signatures that we need in order to get it on a ballot. And there's going to be some controversy, I'm sure, before it's over. There are some insurance companies and others that have a vested interest in having the deer herd down. but there's a lot of economic issues, everything from farmers providing the feed that the deer hunters use, to the tourism, the money from the out-of-state folks, and the amount of money that we spend in supporting the DNR on this project. So if you don't have the staying power, if you think it's going to be done in 30 days or 60 days or even a quarter, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but this is what democracy is all about. This is a grassroots movement. And I think from the reaction and number of signatures that I've seen on some of the petitions and the folks that I've talked to, it's doable. But it's going to take a statewide effort to do it. And each one of you know folks in other counties, you need to talk it up, and we'll go out and help them form chapters of this effort, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. But it's going to take you folks out there to make it happen.
One point I would like to make clear about this. This isn't about if you got a deer or you did not get a deer this year. This is about the future of our deer herd. All right? If you got a deer, great, congratulations. If you didn't, be concerned about what's going on. Okay? Lee?
Well, just to reinforce what you've said, I think one of our initial objectives should be to educate the public, because I don't think they realize that the DNR is regulating whitetail management as a valued big game management. The way it looks now, it's cheaper to go out and shoot 3 fawns than it is to shoot a rabbit in the state of Michigan. I mean, and the DNR just isn't managing whitetails like it should be. It's cheaper to hunt, it's cheaper to hunt a doe than it is to hunt a rabbit, and that's not right. They're just not putting a true value on the whitetail population in the state, and the economic value all the way around, it's something that's not being properly managed.
Well, what you just heard was a small portion of the organizational meeting a week ago of Whitetails Forever, as they're calling themselves, starting a movement around the state. I think you can get from that the intensity of feelings and where they want to go. Well, I also have to tell you that as my first job as an attorney is going to be representing Whitetails Forever and helping them accomplish their goal. And I'm doing this pro bono, not making one dime off it. This is my contribution to helping, I hope, the sportsmen of this state. Now, just before I wrap this up, I want to tell you there are circulating petitions right now and making these available all around the state, and this is what the petition says at the top. Whereas farmers, sportsmen, and citizens of Michigan are very concerned about our dwindling deer herd due to the extended antlerless deer season and unlimited antlerless deer permits authorized by an order of the Natural Resources Commission, and whereas individual hunters and sportsmen's groups have tried to work with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources in the past, but have found at best limited success, and whereas the Michigan State Legislature has exempted the DNR from the rulemaking procedures required by the Administrative Procedures Act for sport hunting and sport fishing regulations, which allows the DNR Commission to issue orders on a 30-day notice without formal public hearings and sufficient due process of law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the undersigned hereby petition the Michigan State Legislature to delete subsection 207D from MCLA 24.207, which would require the DNR to promulgate sport fishing and sport hunting regulations under the rulemaking process established for state agencies under the Administrative Procedures Act. Should the legislature fail to require the DNR to conform with APA rulemaking procedures, it is the intention of Whitetails Forever to pursue a ballot initiative to put this issue before the voters of the state. That's the petition as it's being circulated. If you want more information about this grassroots effort, call Randy Smith at Whitetails Forever, 517-875-2996. Rebuttal points of view on the grassroots movement to change the way the DNR makes its regulations will be presented on this program as these points of view come up. As you think about and discuss what you heard on this program, please keep several things in mind. Number one, this controversy is in its early stages. Number two, the DNR has not had enough time to respond formally to the proposal. Number three, most hunters and most legislators and probably most DNR employees do not understand the DNR's relationship to the Administrative Procedures Act, which is what the January 16th meeting is all about. And number four, and very importantly, As other points of view arise, which will happen during the legislative process, these points of view will be given a fair hearing on this TV show. It would be hypocritical to ask for fair hearings from the DNR if we were not willing to give a fair hearing to the DNR's point of view. I must admit, I have never done a Christmas show like this one, talking about an uprising, a grassroots effort. Well, I tell you, this doesn't seem negative to me. It doesn't seem bad at all. It seems to be a good thing that sportsmen are coming alive, becoming involved. We have a way to make some changes so that sportsmen's voices are heard. So that's sort of the Christmas present that I hope that I'm bringing you by this television show. It's been a good year. Next year, we're going to review not only the year, but the decade. We're going to talk about those deer numbers, where the heck do they come from, and a lot more. In the meantime, have a very Merry Christmas. Have a safe one. Get outdoors. It's a great place to be. I'll see you back here next week. We've spent 2 weeks showing some of the most, quote, successful hunters in the state. Now I say, quote, successful, because what is success anyway? I mean, there's different ways you can measure success. You can do it by measuring the inches of the rack, or how many deer you get, or how much it weighs. But there are some other ways that you can measure success, and there's a couple guys, Tim and George Felton, these guys right here, who have come up with a new, well, it's not really new, a management plan. You call it the Deer Management and Preservation Program. DMPP. Right. Who came up with this?
Well, I think son Tim came up with it.
Okay, your dad, and you introduced him to
But I've been doing it for years.
How many years?
This is my 53rd year of hunting.
53rd year, and yeah. Tim, you came up with this program. You want to describe it?
Well, basically, it's fairly simple. It's just that you go out to hunt, but you shoot to miss. We've been doing that. Dad's been doing that for 53 years, and I've been doing it for 20-some. So it's pretty easy. You go out and we hunted on a 130-acre farm, and we designated an area that we call the zone just for this type of hunting. That you go out and you just shoot to miss, and basically what you do is you shoot at the deer, you miss them, and they run around so that way they don't get fat and flabby, and you get the exercise and you get the thrill of the hunt, and all you have to do when you go home is just clean your gun. It's real simple.
That's sort of the catch and release for hunters.
And they love it. They come back every night.
Oh yeah, because you know I came out of the Marine Corps, and I'm a good shot. You know, I had good training, and I guess probably the first year or two, I thought maybe I, probably should shoot, but to kill. But I've had more fun just watching them jump and dodge when I miss them. So
now, and I've got to ask you. You almost have me convinced that you're doing this on purpose. You're missing on purpose.
Well, I tell my wife that you don't get one every time you go out and hunt.
Have you seriously missed accidentally? Just made poor shots for 53 years?
I think so.
I see. And you've been missing for?
Well, I've hunted 20-some years, and I've actually gotten two. I got one bow hunting 20 years ago. Then 2 years ago, I got one with a truck.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 deer.
I was going to say, we've had success, and then he's taken me home here last year, and we hit one with the truck on the way home. So,
I'll be darned. Well, let me ask you, how was this year for you guys then?
Well, we haven't quite finished yet. We're gonna go out next week or so, but I think we'll have success, and we can keep them running.
Well, that's very good. Well, you guys are quite the conservationists and preservationists.
We try hard.
And you've done very well with this management program. The Feltons Deer Management Preservation Program. You heard it first right here on The Practical Sportsman.